Hello. Oh my goodness. Good morning. We are starting off the day with our evidence of creativity event. So I hope that you will stick with us for the day. We've got a bunch of people coming on to share some evidence of creativity with you, and that could be all kinds of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are doing, we're gonna do a little detective work, but it might not be exactly what you think. And you know what? Our version of we've got craft scene investigation, so we've got some of that going on today. We've got our own version of CSI, right? So I hope that you will stick with us and have some fun. And I'm going to be showing you some ways to actually file your evidence, okay? And some of it might be filing flat, or we'll see. We got some ideas. Good morning, everybody. Oh, hi, Sherry and Liz. So let me just send myself over where I need to go. So if you are watching on Facebook, the group, the Crafty Bunch, is where this is airing there, my page as well. And I'm Christy from My Artful Adventures. And so you can catch us there. And you can, the one thing about doing that is, then you can go ahead and just, refresh your browser in between people. And then you're good to go. So, everybody is popping in. Thanks for being here today. So I hope that you find this to be a fun event. I'm just going to have another sip of coffee here in a second. But, oh my goodness, and I know I don't usually come on this early, you guys. So if you are watching and you're watching the replay, you're not watching live, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know that you've been here today. So I'm going to put us down to the workspace, and you'll see we've got some evidence right here. We had a kind of a mishap right off the bat. I'm ready to examine some of the evidence, you guys. Look at this. I've got this little container that sits over here, and it's got all kinds of stuff in it. And just as I was reaching for something before I hit my go live button, I had it tipped. The whole thing tipped over, so I didn't even have a chance to stick it back in its little container here. So, I've got handy little scissors and pencils and pens and a few files to file off those jagged edges of stuff. So, let me just stick some of these in here, you guys. Always at the last minute, right? Always. So, and this actually can be a dangerous thing. So, make sure, you get those sharp, pointy, pokey, and I've got more than one pokey tool sitting over here. Oh, and here's another one. But how often do you think when I need them, I can find them? Just another reason that we have to organize some of our evidence of creativity, right? Oh my goodness. I'm wondering, how many of you feel like you have some good ways that you keep your stuff organized? Let me know. Let me know if you think you've got some handy dandy ways to do that. We've talked about this a little bit before, and we're going to, dive into this a little bit more today. So, let me just try to not have another avalanche. So I've got a couple of ways that I want to talk to you. Recently, we talked about using... Okay, so I've got this thing that I was using for a while, and I don't think I took one of these out yet. Some of them I got sorted, and I just didn't even have time to put them all away, or I didn't have time to finish what I was doing. Let me find one that's got quite a few. I know already. Okay. You guys, this is hilarious. This thing has got... Well, first of all, let's talk a minute about storing some of our flat paper ephemera, okay? So, when I started to take these apart, I've got all these little things, and so I had tried to start kind of putting them in some piles so I could put them on these photo mount pages. Now, it's my understanding that these pages that we quit using for photos are not the same as they used to be. And so you can take some of your paper ephemera and use them on this. And so it's those same things that had kind of these, I don't know, we used to call them magnetic sheets. They're not. They're sticky back, and then they've got these plastic film things that go over the top, right? So they're just like that. And so they're easy to put the stuff in and easy to get it out. It's not so sticky that you can't go ahead and peel these off and, you know, take it off and get your little piece out of there and use it. But you can see what you've got, right? And so we've got some of those, and you can just divide them up however you think that you might use them. And I am not going to put these in a binder. What I want to use is I want to put them in like, I want to use them kind of like a file. And then I realized that I had some of these magazine file type things. And I thought, you know, until I decide really where I want to put them, this would be a great place to, you know, to just pop them in and let them live here for a while, right? If I can get it down there. Look, it's even got a picture. Okay. But can she do it? What in the world? Am I folding it in the right place? Oh, I think this side isn't folded right. There we go. Look, even with a picture sometimes you gotta struggle, right? And just push that deeper and get that in there. Okay, ta-da! Now I've got one of these little boxes, and then I can put these in here and just, you know, pop them in like this, and then I can kind of flip through them. But I was thinking about even taking it a step further and making some little dividers. So, you know, that would be a perfect way to do it. But you guys, this is so funny. When I started pulling these out, look how many things from different collections that I had that were mushrooms. I mean, I don't even use mushrooms that often on stuff. But look at this. If I decide I need a mushroom, I'm going to be able to find them. So all you got to do is just open this up here. Now, the trick to this, and I showed these on one of my Tiny Tuesday segments one time, but let me just show you real quick. So you just pull your little clear sheet over. You know, following me this morning is going to be Cheryl. She's going to come up, our Mama P's Crafty Creations. She's going to be next. So all you have to do, and I want to start like over at the edge, and don't get it too close to that edge, because you'll want it to be able, and you don't want them too close in between, because that's the part that your film sticks to and kind of seals it down. So you can just, you know, put these little things down, and some of these have got more than one, but isn't this funny? I tell you. How many of you like to use mushrooms in some of your projects? Are you a mushroom person? I am wondering. Let me see if I can see comments, more comments. Oh, what did I do? I forgot to, hang on one second. I forgot to keep my phone open here so I could see comments. That's one of the places that seems to be a good way to see them, and I don't know why it seems to work better for some of the comments than other places. Hi Kathy, hi Nicole, Carol, everybody's popping in. Pat, thanks for joining me bright and early on this Saturday morning. Now I know, now we've got some people who love putting these in their projects. And if I had the right thing, and you know, one of the themes that I have noticed that people use a lot of little mushrooms and toadstools is with fairy related projects. They just seem to kind of go with that kind of a theme. And then, you know, even just like this. So then you've got those there, and then you just want to press this down and just give it a good press, like, you know, kind of in between some of these, and then that's going to stay. Now the one thing nice about this is then I can flip it over, and I've got some other pieces here, and you know, you can even put bigger pieces, right? Nicole says she's been using, yes, she has got a fun event coming up on Monday. And it's like something, let's see, it's something like mushrooms, moss, and moonlight. Something like that, right, Nicole? Am I close? I think. Wouldn't that be cool if I remembered and that's exactly what it is? That would be fabulous. Okay. And then you just put these on here. Just stick them down. And, you know, I mean, and if it fits better that you put them that way, you can do that too. I just think I'm just going to put these here. Okay, there we go. So we've got our whole little thing of all of our little mushrooms and toadstools on there. And this one I put some things that kind of had little numbers on them, or, you know, little things that might have that, or labels. You know, so there's all different kinds of ways that you can keep your stuff. And I'm going to have to use, yeah, something specific. You're right. Yep. And Carol says she doesn't really care for it. Yeah, I just don't use them that much. But, you know, this gives you a chance that if you do have some things, what if I decided I needed that and I'm like, oh, I know I've got one somewhere. Well, now I've got a sheet that, you know, has them in there. So now I can put all of these into my little container here. We can just pop them in here. Now, I would probably put them this way. I don't know. You know, isn't it funny how sometimes you just have a direction or a way that you would typically, you feel like you would access it better one way or another, right? And I'm just going to stick these in here and they'll be ready. But what I thought I would do is just make some dividers. And I have some, I pulled out some, I can't even think this early. Cardstock. I got some cardstock here. What do I do with it? And I pulled out one that I have a couple of packs of this. And this is pretty paper. It's kind of this pearlescent thing. And I thought, well, I hate to kind of use so much of it. And, you know, sometimes I'll use a paper that I don't think I might use that often for creating something else. And so, you know, to use it to make dividers, well, you know, I don't have a problem with that. So, and I don't even think that you have to use a full page, right? I don't think so, because it's still going to stand up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these at, I think I'll cut it at, well, if I do 4 inches, I can get 3. I'm going to do 3.5. Well, let's see. I don't know. You know, I'm just going to do 3 inches because I want to have a strip at the side that I could also do some tabs. We'll just get some tabs going too. What did I say? 3? Yeah, 3 inches. We'll cut it at 3 inches. And then that way, got a little bit on the side. Well, actually, we'll have a whole 3-inch strip. I don't know. I should have used my little tab cutter to see how wide I needed it. But I know we can do it like this. Hopefully. So I've got this, and this is a little punch that'll do some little tabs. I actually have 2 kinds. I've got this old one, and this is the one that they call a whale tail. And so, and this is kind of what is nice about, I don't think I can get 2. Nope, I can't get 2 of them across. I could have made them a tiny bit different, and I'll show you. They're just a little bit different. And I think I'm going to cut them both to see which I like better. Now if I do this one, let me see. I think I can get more across here if I do this one. This way. Bye. And if you flip your punch over, you can see where you're punching. So that's always kind of handy when you can see it. Okay, so that one if we do this and fold this over, then you've got this place to write, and you've got the little part up there. If we do this one, we've got a little bit more room to write, and it's going to stick up at the top. I think I really like this one better to use for these. Although this is a little bit more substantial. I don't know. You know, if this is going to stick up that high, I really don't need to do that many. I don't know. You know, I'm probably going to just write it in pencil, and I don't like my handwriting. And then I'm probably going to just make some little labels or something. So she says, right? You never know. You have the best intentions of doing that. But then, does that happen? No. Probably not for a long time. Now, the thing about these, though, you've got to keep trimming this off so you can get it close. If you're doing it this direction. But if I don't do it that direction, then I can't get as many on there. So let's just do a couple more, because I've got some other stuff to show ya. Okay. What's one of your favorite ways that you like to keep track of some of your goodies, you guys? Okay. Because I bet, you know what? I mean, we've all got, you know, we've got the evidence that's been collected, right? And we don't have a good filing system. So you got to be able to find it, right? Don't you think? And I mean, all of these supplies, it's evidence. It is truly evidence. Okay, now I'm just going to glue this right onto the top of this. Now this is already going to stick out a little bit, but how much? I don't know. How much is this going to stick out already? Just a little bit. You know, we really wouldn't even have to do anything. It sticks out just enough. But what fun would that be? What fun would that be? We can put this on here. That'd be cute. It already sticks out enough, and we actually could put it all the way down. Oh, I like that idea. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to put it on there. So we will just add a little bit on here. I've got another couple of fun things to show you too, you guys. It's not all going to be this, okay? We're going to talk about some other things that you can do. All right. If you use a little bit of liquid glue or something, you have just that minute. Okay, so now I don't even have to put it up that high, because I mean, it gives us just a little bit more interest, right, on there, and we can write it. I mean, you can see I wouldn't have had to have done anything. And, you know, honestly, I probably, if I got to the point where I could just put these in between, I would feel like I had accomplished a lot, right? We have accomplished something if we got our dividers in. So I'm going to just go ahead and put these on here real quick. Okay. Linda says she keeps small stamps in photo pocket sleeves and 3-ring binders. Yes. Okay. So here are some other things about, now things that go in ring binders can be really handy, because, you know, it's already kind of a way that you're, well, so-called filing them away, right? It's a way to organize and file them away. And you know, they make a lot of different kinds of things, pockets and things, to fit in ring binders. You can use the, oh, what do they call? Like sports card pockets are one kind of pocket that is already, you know, it's designed like that, and they're not terribly expensive. You can buy those like at a, you know, a collectible store that sells, you know, those kinds of things, and those are not too expensive. And there are actually, you know, I think a lot of times when you buy things that are specific, I hate to say this, but I think when you buy them that are specifically meant for craft organizing, I think a lot of times they just mark them up for us. Isn't that mean? That's just mean. So now we could take our bunch of things and we could divide them. Okay, like right now I've only got like one page for each of these kinds of things. But as time went on, I would have more, right? And so we could just divide these up by whatever they are. And then when they're in your box, you know, then you could stagger them. Now, if you wanted to use a whole sheet of paper, you know, then, and make it exactly the size that you need, then you could stagger your tabs, you know, where you wanted them. But my goodness, for me, even to just have it like this and be able to tab through and find it, you know, I would feel like I had accomplished so much. You guys are probably thinking, wow, it doesn't take much to make her happy. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And then here are some other things. Okay, so talking about that, here's another kind of, I was mentioning, I think just yesterday, about the Totally Tiffany brand. Now, hers were designed for crafting, and I mean, a lot of them were they're totally different and so handy. And one thing that I like about her is she actually teaches people how to use things. And she, I think, is an organizer by nature, right? Some of us aren't. Some of us are just not organizers by nature. And, you know, when you're not, a lot of times it just, you know, those things, that thought process doesn't really come that naturally. And oh yeah, Pam says she uses those 2-gallon, like I think she's talking about the Ziploc bags. Yes, and sometimes people take those big bags and they will, you know, you can put a collection of something in it. You can divide it up and put a project in it. And a lot of times people will use those kinds of things, and then they will even hang them. You can even, you know, hang them up on something, and then you can kind of, you know, file through them as you go through. And those are super handy to use. Let's see. Let me see what else everybody is talking about. Nicole says organization always makes her happy. Oh, let me see what else. Martha says she sewed pockets in little binders too. Trying to see if anybody thinks. I was just trying to see if anybody else had shared some fun ideas. You guys, there's, you know, just so many ideas. Now, this is one of the ways that people talk about organizing things by color. Now, that was a big thing at some point, and a lot of people do. They will take like one of those whole little cubby things, you know, the little square. It's just like a cube basically, and usually they have an open, sometimes you can get lids, sometimes they're just open at the top. I have some of those. I basically use kind of as a drawer in my IKEA thing, and they will take them and they will fill all kinds of one color of something. So their embellishments of one color go in there. And sometimes some people keep even their colored cardstock paper, anything that is that color, and they'll organize it by that. And to me, I don't normally think like that. Now, for some reason, organizing this kind of stuff by color kind of made a little bit more sense, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. I had so much stuff that was just little tiny, little bitty things, and I did go ahead and do it like this. And you know what? It really is kind of helpful. Now, these pockets in this thing actually have a flap on them. So that's helpful because it'll keep the stuff in. And these are made for a specific thing. I don't even know that this is a regular, well, you can see how huge this is. So I don't even know for sure. I can't say that it would fit like a normal thing with like a photo album that's ring bound. I don't even know, you guys. I have a special thing that it goes in. And and then you know, so if I wanted something green or some, you know, I can open it up. Or here's the other thing. A lot of times I've got several pages of this, and I'll flip through them and see if there's something, like if I'm making a project or something, I'll flip through and it's like, oh, you know, I forgot I had these. That's kind of fun. Let's use that. And then another thing that I have found recently, and this is so funny because I actually saw an ad for these that was from a company that specializes in sewing. And I'm like, wait a second, sewing? Why would you have that stuff? Well, they were organizing their projects and things like this. And you guys, since I started doing a lot of printables, and I can take a set of printables and I can put it in here because, you know, a regular sheet of paper, let me grab one. A regular sheet of paper, it's, you know, it's that size. It's bigger actually. And there is enough room in here. This is a brand new one. Now, I found the same things. I mean, they are the same colors and everything. I found them on Amazon and they were a lot cheaper than they were at the other place. Okay, now the thing I love about it is, you know, I do a lot of things that are fairly flat. And you guys, there is enough of a gusset in here that you can put things, you can put a nice amount of bulk in these. And these also have, I mean, this would fit just about any kind of ring binder that you've got, right? And so you could put one of these, or not one, you could put a bunch of these into a notebook and flip through, you know, your projects if you wanted to. Or, you know, you could just put them in something and flip through them and file them. Usually mine are just loose in a pile. But I tell you what, I can't tell you how many times that I have been so thrilled to be able to, you know, put a project in one of these and it's all together and I don't have to look for all the pieces. And ta-da, there it is the next time I go to get it. And I really love these. And I am so glad that I found them. You know, it just is amazing. But can you believe that? So this is the thing I made from the project yesterday, you guys. So it was a composition notebook. So I mean, you know, it's not super thin, but I would say, oh, I don't even know how, that has got about 3/4 of an inch of a gusset on it. So I mean, that is a substantial amount. Then, oh, and this is what I was thinking. Okay, so any kind of another closed thing that you want, even if you did not have, let's say that pockety thing, let's say that you wanted to do something like this and, you know, put it in here, but you don't have any of these, well, you don't necessarily, you know, need something like that. And you can get these tiny Ziploc bags, and you wouldn't have to get them this tiny, but you can get, I mean, but you know, sometimes we have little embellishments that are just loose and they just make such a mess. And these are very handy to put, you know, some things in. And like I said, this is a very small size. This is only about 2.5 by, well, the closure isn't even 3 inches. So the usable part of this bag is about 2 3/8 by about 2 and, oh, not even 2 3/4. So I mean, these are tiny, but like I said, you know, sometimes you just don't need a whole lot of room for something. Like here, let me show you. Here I have these round paper fasteners, and I mean, if you were going to put these in here and you didn't want a box, you wanted something, you know, smaller, you could put them in here. I can't even get it open now. I was going to show you. You can get a lot in one of these. Well, if you can get it open. So, I mean, you could put a whole bunch of something tiny-ish. I probably could get all of those in there. I mean, they just hold a lot more than you would think, right? And then you can just close them up, and then, hang on a sec. So then you could put whatever you're going to put in. You could put several of them in. And then you can just, you know, toss them in here. And so then you can see. So, I mean, this is another way that you can divide things up. And if I wanted to do something that kind of was all this, you know, some metal colors, you know, I could do that. And that would be handy dandy. Handy dandy. You guys, when our oldest granddaughter was little, she was helping somebody do a, they were driving through somewhere and they were going to park. So she's thinking she's going to be helpful. And she goes, there's one. And then when they get up close, she goes, oh, it's a handy dandy spot. She was handicap parking. So, you know, at our house anymore, we call them the handy dandy spots. You guys, don't you think, how many of you have something that you call, you know, something that started from a kid calling it that? Do you guys do that at your house? How many of you have something funny like that? I think most people do, don't they? Some child called something and everybody thought it was cute, and then forever after you continue to call it that. Okay, let's see. Next on the list, let me see. Has anybody else shared some good ideas? I'm just gonna no, nobody wants to see my arm like that. Goodness. All right. Yeah, the 3-ring binders can always be so handy. And the 2-gallon bags. Little clear pockets. Yep, put them in things. Oh, Linda says she leaves all of her IOD stamps, transfers, and molds in the original packaging, and then she hangs them in a closet, on a closet rug with S hooks. Yes, and then you can flip through them. I agree. And you know, I have a lot. You guys have heard me laugh about my evidence, the evidence locker, which just is, you know, more supplies. But that's the way I keep my little art impressions things. I keep them all in the original package, and I do that too. And they've all got, you know, numbers on them. And so that's the way I file them, is by their little number. And then I have like a whole spreadsheet that I have put those on so that I can find them. And then on the spreadsheet, what I do is I put what the number is, and then I also put what the stamp is, and like anything on it. Like this, I would put what the name of it is, the number, that it's a little bear, there's honey and a bee. And that way, if I'm looking for something, then I can just, you know, find it like that. I can search for bee and, you know, or bear, and then I can find all the stamps I have that have something on that. And then I know what part number it is, and then I can go look it up. And so I've been doing something like that for a long time. I had some other ones that I actually took pictures of them, so I didn't have to write everything down. And you guys, when you flip through pictures, you'd be surprised how easy it is to locate something that you know you've got, because you're just flipping through the pictures and you see it. Yes, oh, Pam, you and me both. She says her downfall is not putting them back. And Cheryl was saying something like that the other day. She says her evidence is that her evidence of creativity is that, you know, she doesn't really put the stuff away when she's done. Oh my goodness, I am just notorious for that. And that's why you don't get a tour of my craft area. it is a nightmare. And then these things that have like other little things where you can keep a collection of something are super handy, you guys. And I use these so often, and used to when I made a lot of cards, you know, just tiny little embellishments like this. I would reach for this all the time, and so much so that it's still, you know, it's kind of a quick little go-to thing. But not only that, these little, you know, bags where you can put something specific in here. Like I had these little tins of sequins, and so, you know, here they are. Some of them, even these had little, they were in packages, not little tins. I think I had found these one time at Tuesday morning, and I didn't pay very much for them. And then all of a sudden now I've got, what, 8 tins of sequins. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, you know, that was just going to be kind of hard to deal with. And then I found this whole lovely, you know, way to keep them in little bags. And I love doing that. And then, you know, I mean, you can just do anything like that. And here's like my Nuvo drops. I've got lots of these bags, you guys. And I've got some of the little white open container things that I got from IKEA. And I just toss these in there. So, I mean, even though those are open containers, you know, then I've got several things that go in one. I'll show you what I mean. Because, I mean, and then it doesn't look quite so, you know, so messy. I'll show you one. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is this kind of a little container. They are open like this, and there's a couple. They got 2 or 3 sizes, but then I just got all of these things, you know, like tossed in here, and you know, they're spilling out the top, a lot of them, and you know, they're dusty, but then you know, they are kind of dusty and they get dirty because they're open. But on the other hand, my products are, you know, my products are still protected and clean. So, you know, all I gotta do is like wipe the dust off, and you got your package and you're ready to go, right? And so I kind of know where some of these are. Some of them, I started to say some of these bins are labeled, but no, I just know which things kind of go where, and the ones that I grab the most are closest, right? So I like that for kind of organizing some stuff too. Now, when you are talking about some kinds of laces and, you know, ribbons and things like that, this is a really good way to take care of those. Who's got a good way that you take care of laces and little things like that? Anybody? I saw somebody do this one time, and I thought this was such a great idea. These are comic book boards, and they are, because that's what they were made for, they are also acid free. So, you know, you can use these for some of your things, and you don't even have to worry about any problems like that. And they're kind of slick on one side and not the other. Just so you know, I don't know what it would matter, but let me see what else. See if anybody else is sharing any tips. We like to share tips, don't we, you guys? So we've got some of these, and I've cut these. These are they're 11.5 inches. A full one is 11.5. Well, this says 10.5. 10.5. Why was I? Oh my goodness. Well, that's, what in the world? I just cut these in half, and I was, oh yeah, duh. I cut them at 5 1/4. Why did I think 11.5? I don't know. I was looking at a weird cutting thing on one of the places I've got. So yeah, these are 10.5, and it says right on it, 10.5 by 6 3/4. And so a lot of times I will cut them in half, just like that, and then wind ribbon around it. And when you can wind some ribbon around, and then you can get rid of some of these spools. And it really is kind of handy. And then, you know, and I have got a lot of ribbons that have come to me over the years that you get like a whole little collection of these, and or a whole collection of ribbons. Where's my pins? Got some pins. You can tell I've had the unfortunate happenings of them popping open and all of them flying everywhere. But all you have to do is take these and take them off the spool, and then just, you know, wind them around. And then you don't have these big bulky spools around, and this one is not a full spool anymore. But then you can kind of file these away. And these pins work great for that. And keep that on there. So now I can toss this, and I don't have this bulky thing. And if you do them kind of by colors, and I know this is another piece that's almost at the end, so I'm going to take this, oops, I got something else there, and just put this on. So see, you can just put, and then I would have, I don't know, I think I had another one out here I was going to wind on here too. What happened to it? It was a different one, but it was another little cream colored one. Sometimes it takes you a minute to kind of get going and get them started. But I love having them like this and being able to just, see, that was right to the end. This is not, I have had a couple of this particular little crochet type lace. These are great because then you can I don't know what I was gonna say. I lost that train left the station. I don't know, I got you just gotta, and when I do these, I like to take the pin, and it's gonna stay better if you can get it all the way through, but then poke it back so that you don't have that open pin. See, I put the pointy pokey end of the pin back in there. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Sometimes, now depending on what your lace is or whatever, you might not want to, sometimes pins just make holes that aren't that great. You can use a little bit of masking tape or some washi tape. Now, sometimes on these backer boards, if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you're using the tape that you end up on this not slick side, because it'll do better. And this is what I actually use this method when I'm packaging up the ribbons and embellishments for the paper voyage kits. And when I do that, oh my goodness, washi tape kind of drives me crazy. Which always reminds me when I first started using it, and then I told people, I go, I don't even know why people think this is so great. And then they go, well, where did you get yours? So I told them, and they go, you should try a different kind, which was true. And now I'm wondering if this is one of those that I had that I didn't like. Oh my goodness. And then you start doing it, and it's like, I'm gonna get it open. I'm going to. I paid for it. I'm gonna use it. Okay, so this is what else you can do, is take a piece of washi, and then you would want to go over this from edge to edge and make sure that you're adhering it onto your backer board, and then it'll stay better. A lot of times it won't stay as well. Oh, see, it just ripped off. A lot of times it won't stay if you just want to try and, put it on here and keep it on your ribbon. Just depending on what it is, it just wants to kind of come loose. So That's why if you can use a pin on it, that's what I would really suggest that you use, is the pin. I wanted to put that other lace on. Oh, did I drop it? Oh, here it is. Oh, if I can reach it. There we go. I had this one on here, and this was kind of in that color family, so I thought I would put this on there too. So, you know, you just wind them on there. So, I mean, so many ways to do things. Oh, let's talk a minute about paper. If you've got a lot of papers, I still have never taken the time to sort through all of my scrapbook papers. And now, I mean, I've got a lot of them that are just loose, but nowadays I've got so many that are also on paper pads. Now the paper pads, you know, are already, you know, they're kind of nice because they've got a picture of what's in them, right? A lot of them will have a picture, and so you can just kind of see what they are, and you know, and kind of go from there. So that's kind of nice. Now some of these things don't have very much on them in the first place. One of these, yeah, this only had 3 yards to start with. So, you know, depending on what you're using your laces for, 3 yards can be, you know, plenty. If you're a card maker and you're just using little bits, 3 yards is gonna, you know, that's gonna be quite a bit. If you're making journals and you're gonna think you're gonna put this all the way around the entire journal edge, or even on pages, I mean, you're using a lot more of that. Man, that's hard to get through. Let me see if I can. That was thick, you guys. It was thick. So now I've got a card that's kind of, you know, got some, then I can just, and you could file these away, you guys. You get a little box or something, and you could stand these up in it too. These, you could put several of these in one of these things, you know, several colors. So that is another idea. What else did I have I was going to show you? Oh, I tell ya, what a Saturday morning to get up and think about getting organized. So we've got our, yeah, we've been sorting through the creative mess, right? And now look at this. Instead of, so now let me grab these out of here. I think that kind of says it all, doesn't it? Look at that. I can get rid of this much bulk, and there it is right there. I mean, that is pretty amazing when you think of it like that, isn't it? I mean, it's such a visual transformation. So yeah, I like that. And then I've got some other things that I have gotten recently. I've got whole piles of ribbons that need to be sorted through and something done like that. You can even do this. I've heard of people taking fabric too. Now this is a little bit of eyelet, but I've heard of people using this same method and doing their fabric on it. Now what they're using their fabrics for, I don't know if they're just using this method to kind of sort through scraps. I'm not really sure. I just don't know. The cowboy Walmart. Oh, Pam, that is too funny. Pam was, when I was asking about, do you have things that kids called something? She says that they had a farm store, and when their grandson was 3, he called it the cowboy Walmart. That's probably true. Oh my gosh, you guys. Some of those supply stores that are like that, you wouldn't believe what was there. In fact, my daughter not long ago, she had on the cutest little summer dress, and I go, oh, that's cute, where did you get that? And she had got it when she lived in Colorado, and out at our little hobby farm. She said she had gotten it at what was the name of that place? I want to say Murdoch's, and it was kind of a farm store. And so she said that was where that had come from. I was laughing. I go, well, that was cute. And I think last time I was at Tractor Supply, they had like some things. You just never know where you might find some. We teased my oldest daughter for the longest time. They had been doing some traveling, and so they were stopping at Love's, and she had these sundresses that she was wearing. And they were cute, but every time we'd go, oh, that's cute, where did you get that? And she would go, Love's. So, see, you just never know. No, I never have purchased anything, but one of the places I love some of the clothes that they have is at Cracker Barrel. How many of you have ever been to Cracker Barrel and seen their little store that they have? I tell you, I think whoever does merchandising at Cracker Barrel, I think they do a great job. Not only are there some fun old-timey things, like toys and things like that, but they really have kind of a nice variety. So there. Look, now I got that on there. Woohoo! Look how I sort through these things. You guys, I've got somebody that I haven't been able to reach today for one of our presenters. You might see me back on again. I might be doing some more evidence sorting or something. Who knows? I don't know. This is going to be fun because it's a fun kind of a fun theme, and there's so many ways that our creators can go with this today, so I'm anxious to see what everybody does. I haven't made a project today. I've just been doing, some of this chit-chatting with you today and talking about some ways that we can, kind of wrangle up some of our stuff, right? But this is going to be fun. I can hardly wait. And like I said, Cheryl's going to be up in just a few minutes, and we'll see what she's got. Sometimes you can just say, I wonder what she's got cooking, because Cheryl very well could be cooking, right? I love watching our people. All of them are just, we have so much fun watching everybody. Just so much fun. You guys, how do you take care of your trims and stuff, your laces and trims? I'm curious. My comments just keeps hanging up here, and I don't get to see them. Oh, Linda says she has made she's made a spreadsheet of her digital downloads. Oh, that's smart. I've got so many digital downloads that I've done over the years. In fact, a lot of my scrapbooking kind of went digital. But then it was funny because I decided that I could probably scrapbook faster if I had physical stuff, because my options, I could limit my options more than if I was trying to do it digitally. So sometimes limited options really are a little bit helpful when you're creating something. It's like, okay, this is the pile of stuff I have in front of me. Now, what can I do with it? So you're kind of looking at that, in a different light. I think all of these segments that I'm pulling together now, I want to say were 3-yard segments. And 3 yards is kind of a nice amount of lace or trim. It really is. I think, like, if you're making ties for a journal or something, I think usually I don't cut any more than about 15 inches for each side, and then if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, that's less than a yard, and for the ties on on a book. You guys, this, you know, you start something and then you think, well, it doesn't seem like it would be as impossible to complete. Now this, I would like this one to kind of go over here. This is a little bit more of this crochet feel on this one. So I think I'm going to put that on this card. But see how you could just, you know, put some, and you know, I used to have, there was a ribbon club, and you got a card of ribbons. It was not this big of a card. I think it was probably more about this size, and she had those jam-packed on there. They were probably about 1/2 inch wide ribbons, and so she would put them on there like kind of a seasonal type thing. And I tell you, that was so fun. And I ended up, I'm not sure if I stayed about a year, and I thought, oh my goodness, I got more ribbons than I know what to do with at this point. Just, you know, little, and I bet there were probably, you know, I wonder if there was like about a yard or so, because I think she had come from the card making world, and I think it was just, you know, kind of smaller amounts of ribbon. Let's see. Hey, Tammy. Oh, Patricia says all her laces, trims, and ribbons are on cardboard cards and filed in 2 stackable plastic drawers. That is great. She says since she sews too, that really works. Oh, I can see how that would be handy. That's a great. I'm glad to hear you've done that. Martha says after seeing this, she's got all of her lace on little boards in a small tub. Good for you, Martha. What else? Anybody else? Yeah, Sue says she uses masking tape. Yeah, that I've done that too. And you know what? And the thing about masking tape is it's pretty easy to, you know, to tear off too. The painter's tape. Do you just use the painter's tape? I'm wondering. Sue, do you just use the painter's tape for that? Yes, you do get to feel it. It's a very tactile thing, isn't it? Oh, Kim says the problem with using the pins is that when you stack them, the little heads can get caught on the next card. Yeah, I can see that would be, yep. Good point. And you almost need to, if you're going to use pins, you almost need to use them like this, right? Because if you don't use them with kind of a big head, they're going to get lost. Well, maybe not. You know, because not all pins have these big heads like this. And these have the white ones. Can you see that? The white heads on that. So, look at that. Look at me go. I have got to take a second here and look and see if Cheryl is on yet. You guys, if you are watching in the Crafty Bunch, all you have to do is just refresh your page, and then we will have Cheryl, who's up next. I tell you, sometimes anymore, I am having trouble finding, when I look for them, people that I watch all the time. It's kind of maddening. So I don't know what's up with that. Okay. And there she is. I'm going to go ahead and pop her in. You guys, I've got Cheryl in the group now. So with the lag time, you should be able to see her. now. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off just a minute early, but Cheryl's already there, and so I'm going to send you over there. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. I can't believe how many of you popped on with me this morning. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and who knows, I might see you later today. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.